Originally, there was sugar cane, grown in the tropics. There were also the Venetian galleys, the Atlantic Ocean, and at the end of the voyage, the port of Antwerp. Our story begins in 1508. In 1508, Antwerp was the first city in Europe to import sugar cane, and then became one of the main centers of sugar processing. After the long sea voyage, the imported sugar was unfit for human consumption and had to be purified. So the sugar producers had to dissolve the cane sugar in water by bringing it to a very high temperature, then allowing it to cool down and to regain its dry form through a slow crystallization process. This forced procedure led the sugar producers to a new discovery, a sugar that had not only recovered its purity, but was enhanced in flavor and texture: candy sugar. In Antwerp, the fervor for candy sugar was such that the connection between the river and the Grand Place was called the Suikerij, Sugar Canal, as there were so many refineries, sugar factories, and confectioners along its banks. However, by 1573, several events had put a halt to this wild enthusiasm and constant growth, starting with the wars of religion. While the Spaniards torched Antwerp and put its citizens to the sword, sugar producers left the city to find refuge in the Netherlands and Germany, taking their recipe with them, and began manufacturing candy sugar outside Belgium. Then, in 1648, the Treaty of Münster cut off access to the sea. Refineries closed down, one after the other. Finally, in 1806, the coup de grâce, Napoleon imposed the continental blockade against the British. This had major implications for Antwerp, since importing products from overseas, including sugar cane, was prohibited. It was not until the blockade was lifted that the resurrection of Antwerp began. Meanwhile, sugar beet appeared, and sugar cane returned with a vengeance. In 1884, Antwerp was once again the center of world sugar, boasting around 40 sugar mills and 17 candy sugar factories. A few factories survived the First and Second World Wars. In 1969, there were still 5 left, but the demand for candy sugar products was sharply declining. This forced the producers to join together and form Candico. The acquisitions were completed when Valère Verfaillie in Merksem and La Condiserie de Hatt were taken over, and Candico was bought by Raffinerie Tillemontoise. Today, based on the candy sugar production in the Merksem factory, formerly Candico, Raffinerie Tillemontoise is one of the world leaders in sugar specialties. Still based near Antwerp, Raffinerie Tillemontoise manufactures its products with the greatest respect for tradition, using no additives and only the highest quality sugar. Now transformed to an updated production process, the basic recipe has not changed in 500 years. Dissolve the sugar in water, bring the mixture to a very high temperature, and cool. Thanks to the slow crystallization process, we obtain a pure and unique sugar that's full of flavor and has a distinctive texture: candy sugar. If we proceed to crystallization by evaporation and centrifugation, we obtain the byproducts of the candy sugar: cassonade syrup and cassonade sugar. The secret recipe of the candy producers has not changed. But new fields are now being explored: innovation, research and development of new products, assistance with new ideas from customers, service that's tailored specifically for them, and support for the development of their projects. Still the original, since 1508.